Welcome to Libby's Leadership Lab. I'm Libby Gill, and I'm here to help you level up your leadership skills so you can create the professional life you really want without sacrificing your personal life. I've been guiding women executives and entrepreneurs for more than 30 years. First, as a C-suite corporate exec, heading communications at 3 major Hollywood studios, and now as a business owner and leadership coach. So let's get started. It's time to invent your future. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for being here in the Leadership Lab with us today. I'm really excited about our guest because Eileen McDargh is an expert on a topic that is so critical to us now and for the foreseeable future, and that is resilience. So welcome, Eileen. I appreciate your being here.
Thank you. It's my great joy, Libby.
Thank you. So first, as we get started here, and you have been a leader, and we were just talking before we got on about leader is a choice, leadership is a mindset. Doesn't matter what your title, your authority, your job description is. It's what you choose to do in the world. So tell me a little bit about your own business as a leader and particularly as an expert on resiliency.
Okay. Well, I've had my own organization for, I hate to say this,
You can say it.
40 years, which is amazing because I'm only 21 years old. So I have no clue how that
I
happened.
know, isn't that funny?
And so I've always been looking at the area of communication. You know, what happens within an organization, with our customers, you know, with our teams. And I realized that what communication is all about is an exchange of energy. And I became intrigued with resilience after 9/11
Yeah.
because I watched us as a nation and individuals. How did we pull through this? And the more I looked at this, I realized that at the base, and resiliency is not, first off, it's not about bouncing back, which is what the dictionary says, which are 99.9% of the books that are out there that says, oh, you bounce back. No, it's about growth. It's about growing through where you find yourself to be wiser, smarter on the other side. And ultimately, Libby, at the end of the day, it's about energy management. So all of a sudden, these things started to come together. So how do I to grow, to cultivate this skill of resilience? How is it that I manage my energy? What gives me energy? What depletes my energy? And as a leader, what is it that I do that sets a model for people to do this? What are the things that I might be doing that depletes people's energy and therefore depletes part of their ability to be resilient?
And so much of that is happening right now with there's no commute time. There's no boundary between work and home. And it just one bleeds into the next. And I see all of my coaching clients are worn out and frazzled.
You know, so here we bring up the point. So the first place here we have to start with all of this, I don't care whether you are the CEO, whether you are the solopreneur, whether you're the physician in the hospital, it all has to start with self-leadership.
Yeah.
If you're not taking care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody else. So in all the times I'm asked to, you know, come facilitate, come lecture, and of course before COVID-19, you know, I was on the road a lot. I was speaking to groups, to associations, you know, anything from, you know, 30 people to 15,000 people. But now I really want to get people to think, how is it that I lead myself and how am I influencing the people around me so that I can help them? And I remember I read this years ago, and it always struck me that leadership comes from a place that troubles your heart.
Mm-hmm.
And what that says is that in what's going on, what pulls me is when it says it troubles my heart, for me, it means I can do better than this.
Mm-hmm.
I can make this better. I can find a better way. And so my why, my purpose is to make a contribution to help people bring the best of who they are within the workplace, within their home environment. And what we want to do, how I do that is to help you find a better way of creating those conversations that matter and those connections that count.
Well, I think that's what leaders do is that clearly there are challenges and problems in the world, even when we are at our best. And leaders answer that call to service. I mean, it quite literally, there is a problem out there and you step up to solve it. And that's what leaders do on a small scale, on a global scale. It doesn't matter.
The true leader does, Libby.
Yeah.
We've got people who say they're leaders. They don't do any of that.
Yeah.
So they're abdicators.
Yeah.
They are not leading. It's all about me, 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 me. Screw everybody else that's around you. That's not leadership.
Yeah, I agree.
That's not leadership at all. So in my mind, I want to be really clear that it's how you interact with within your sphere of influence. What is it that you bring to the table? And if it's only about you, you are not a leader.
Not a leader. I agree with that. And Eileen, you touched on this factor of burnout, and you wrote an entire book on this subject. And I think that is a big factor, whether you're taking care of kids and homeschooling, you're working, you're doing all of those things at the same time. What can you share? Tell us about your book and what you found and what people can take out of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. So first off, I think that there is a process, and it's going from burnout to breakout to breakthrough.
Right.
And that's building resiliency to refuel, recharge, and reclaim what matters. That's the subhead of the book. So the first thing in the burnout is to recognize you even got it.
Just knowing that
there's nothing wrong with me, nothing wrong with me.
Okay.
And in every one of the case studies, Libby, that I had, they all went through this period of denial.
Yeah.
And denial is not a river in Egypt.
Exactly.
Right. It's real. It was real for all of them. And the first gentleman, who's a millennial, he was working 3 jobs.
Wow.
Straight. And after 3 days of working, he went into the restroom of one of the office complexes, went into the bathroom, woke up 12 hours later in a pool of vomit.
Oh my God.
Now that is extreme burnout. So burnout isn't just exhaustion. It's also being disconnected from your work. It's hearing people say you don't laugh anymore. You feel, I don't care about anything anymore. It is exhausting all of your resources, mental, emotional, physical. And it's really trying to satisfy unrealistic expectations imposed upon either by you or by the world around you.
So after you recognize, and I had a moment like that at the beginning of COVID where I thought, like you, we both do a lot of speaking. I'm sure your calendar got wiped out in a day.
Disappeared. Gonzo.
And I just fell apart crying, saying, I worked so hard to build this business. My husband said to me, I think you're having a panic attack here. I think you're feeling a little. I said, really? You think this is panic? Is this what panic looks like?
Just what panic looks like.
But I got over it. I did what you said, is accept that, this is what panic looks like. I'm frightened. I'm concerned. I don't know what's going to happen next. And which was normal. And I told myself, that's a pretty normal reaction to the weirdest thing many of us have ever experienced.
It's true.
But we'll get through it. Sadly, many people won't.
It's true. And so what I like to have people do, and what the book, it helps them go through the process. So while the bulk of the book is where is it that we take control, where is it that we do with our own lives, it also looks at what is it that organizationally creates this scenario for burnout, which says to people who are in a leadership role, are you creating this inflammatory situation? Because and I think of it, Libby, kind of like the DNA molecule. You know how it intertwines?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what happens. We have our personal life, professional life, and so it crosses. So I can't look at one without looking at the other.
Yeah.
So the book takes them through that process, asking some really specific questions, and then what are the ways in which I create connections that give me energy. In my head, what am I thinking? In my heart, what am I feeling? In my hands, what am I doing? And there's also energy that is manufactured when we can find, believe it or not, is a sense of humor.
Oh, for sure.
And then, which is interesting, something you said, the last one is a sense of purpose.
Yeah.
You see, when you were going, oh my God, I built this business, I built this business, I built this, what's going to happen to
What am
me?
I going to do?
What are you going to, and yet what you've come back to, Libby, is you said, I still have the purpose that I started this on.
Yeah.
I want to help women in their leadership journey.
Yeah.
It is just that it looks different.
It,
So
and the next day I started a coaching group, free, open to anybody. I had people
see,
from all over the world join just to share their experience. There was that that was the best connection we could get was.
I love that. I love that. And if you want me to come on your group sometime and hang out with them, I would love to do that.
Oh, it'd be great. It would be great.
Because I think, I think we're all in this together. And it's one of the things that I think is part of our DNA, our genome, if you will, as women, is that we have three responses to stress. There's fight, there's flight, but the other one is to befriend, to come together.
Yeah.
And when we come together like this, oxytocin is created. Well, that's the hormone that starts when you breastfeed. And so what it does is it's feeling supported. And when people have said to me, like on what day is today? I don't even know what day it is. It's Friday. So it was yesterday. I know why it was yesterday. I was up at 4 a.m. to speak to HR Kenya, Africa.
Wow.
And when they contacted me a month or so ago, they said, we can send you $200. And I said, you know what? Let me just do this for you.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not going to take their money.
Yeah.
You know what? I would rather be useful. Now that's part of my, why I'm on the planet, which is not to say if anybody wants to hire me, hire me.
Yeah, for sure. But $200
to pay.
That wasn't going to change your life. And you did such a good service for a group that obviously needed you. So.
It was fascinating. It was way too early in the morning.
It would be for me too. Yeah.
That was a lot. But anyway.
So what's the best professional advice anybody ever gave you, Eileen, in your career?
Oh gosh, that's a really interesting question. The best professional advice.
Or the worst. I think we learn from great leaders and we learn from bad leaders.
Well, I'm really glad you said that because because I've worked in corporate settings.
Yep.
My very first corporate setting, I had a wonderful manager. And it was in Florida. When I moved from Florida out to California, I worked for 2 different organizations. And I have to tell you, I saw the worst of leadership. And interestingly, they were both women.
Huh. That's sad, but yes, it happens.
It is sad. It is sad. And at the time, I thought, I am learning so much about what not to do.
Yeah.
So in the first instance, what I observed of this quote leader, who was a vice president, it was a publicly traded company, that she was, what's a good word to say? She was, not only was she controlling, but she was shaming, blaming, intimidating. She would intimidate employees.
Mean-spirited.
Really, she had such a low level of self-esteem that she didn't like anything, you were fired. Or if you came up with a good idea, it suddenly became her idea.
Oh, yeah, right. The
credit, she took credit for anything that we in this department would do. Threatened us. You belong to my department. You may not sit in the cafeteria with the rank and file.
God, oh my goodness,
that was terrible. And then the second person, she was an entrepreneur. She'd been quite successful, but she was more driven by just bring me in a ton of money. And it was a PR firm. It doesn't matter that the PR client was not a match. We shouldn't have that PR client.
Just bring me that client and let's get the money.
And I got to tell you, Libby, when I finally burned out of that, and my husband and I have been married for 40 years. He's fabulous. But when we got married, we had no money between us. And he had 3 kids and I adopted his 3 kids.
Aww.
And within 2 months of our marriage, I woke up in the middle of the night and I slapped him. I said, Bill, I'm quitting. He said, what are you going to do? I said, I don't know, but I can't do this. And sometimes I think on our own self-leadership journey, It is to determine what we can't do, what we
Right.
do not want in our lives. We might not be clear on what we want,
Yeah.
but I can do what I call reverse goal setting. I don't want this.
I no longer want this. Yeah, I think of that as, does this serve me? Does this still continue to? No, I've outgrown that. I've changed. I like your idea of resilience. It's not that, it's that. It's going up and growing
It is.
through.
And,
Yeah.
if you think about it, I also use the sailboat as a metaphor. Well, if you're in a sailboat, do you sail? You sail, Libby?
I have. Yeah. You
Okay.
attack.
There, see, look what you're doing
Yeah.
with your hand right there. You're going back and forth.
Exactly.
Well, just like the sailboat, the wind
Yeah.
shifts in our life, and you got to tack, you got to come around, you got to do all this stuff. Well, the wind shifts in our life. So I think this notion of resiliency is not, okay, bam, 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 got it. Okay, next. It is really, it is a journey. It is a cultivation. It is, okay, I do a little bit. Oh, you know what? The wind shifted. Oh, this is not working. I need to work back over here.
Right.
So it is taking the temperature, if you will,
Mhm.
the course that you're on, and constantly being reflective.
Yeah.
Is this really serving me? Is this serving my family? And where do I need to make the course corrections so that the growth in developing the skill of resilience has no endpoint?
Right. Oh yeah, it's a lifelong journey for
It
sure.
is.
Yeah.
It is. In fact, I coined a word called presilience, which is
Resilient.
preemptive resilience. So
Ah,
you
I
don't
like
wait
that.
until, well, think about it. We think of resilience as what you need when stuff
After
is
you go,
terrible.
whoa. Yeah,
Yeah.
after
When
you've
I say, oh
gone,
my God. Okay. All right. Quit. COVID-19. Okay. All right. Got it. All right. I was resilient. You work at it all the time.
yeah, yeah,
And if it's kind of like, well, we just finished the World Series, bless the little
yeah.
Dodgers. You and I
Yay,
are both
Dodgers.
in Southern California. Go Dodgers. But if you watch them when they are practicing, they'll pick up like 3 or 4 bats and they swing them. And
Yeah,
what they're doing is they're making it harder so that when they pick up the one bat, they really got it.
yeah,
So
right.
I think sometimes to be resilient, we need those 3 bats, and we practice with those 3 bats
Yeah.
so that when the time is there, okay, I know what I need to do.
It's really about setting yourself up for success. It's like every little hurdle, "Oh, I got this one. I got that. I
Yeah.
got that." So as the challenges, and they do get bigger in life. I mean, if you live long enough, you have more and more challenges to
They
deal
do.
with.
We're going to go through health challenges. We're going to go through loss.
Yeah.
Um, and so it's a journey.
It is that.
It's a
Well,
journey.
Eileen, I would love it if you would give our listeners a little experiment to help them invent their own futures. Any kind of thought or action step or anything they can do to help them on that journey of resilience.
All right. So you said 2 things. You said one is to invent their future.
Yes.
And the second thing you said is to help them be resilient.
Yes.
Which do you want first? Because they're two
Oh,
different things.
I know they are either direction or anything about leadership. You've got so much wisdom to share. It's like, toss it out there. Let us have it all.
Um, all right. Well, let me tell you the things I'm working on for me,
Yeah, that'd be great.
because I think we teach what we need to learn.
Oh, for
And
sure.
always. And when I write my books, this is the 8th book. It's stuff that I need to know.
Yeah.
I'm going to teach myself. So at the point where I am in my life,
Mhm.
what is it that I want in the next stage? So this gets into the future.
Mhm.
And again, I'm going back and doing reverse goal setting. What do I not want? So and write it.
Mhm.
Ink it, as my buddy Sam Horn says, ink it to think it. There is
Yeah.
something about taking it out of your brain, writing it down, and you can see it. What is it
I'm
that I
with
don't
you.
want?
I
There, look at this.
scribble all day long. I agree.
It's powerful, but to keep the journal.
Yeah.
And particularly now in these times of real, disconcerting arenas and everything that's going on, I really think that one thing that will help us stay on the course is at the end of the day or the beginning, have a journal that all you do is write 3 things for which you're thankful for. That sounds so stupid. And I know many people say this, but they don't do it. And when you realize, even as bad as some stuff is, there are things to be thankful for.
Yeah.
which gives you that little bit of energy boost. But here's the thing that I began working on 2 years ago, because we get stuck in ruts. We get stuck in our patterns. And that's one of the things that makes this so terrifying for us right now is our patterns
Right.
are shifted. It's not what we thought it would be.
Right.
So one of the things I read, this was a practice that started in the Middle Ages and apparently is only continued in the Basque region of Spain.
Mm-hmm.
But I decided I was going to adopt it. And basically the practice is that on the day of your birth, so if I'm born September 5th, so on the 5th of every month,
Mm-hmm.
do something that you have never done before.
Every
Now,
month.
every month for a
Wow.
year, for an
Okay.
entire year.
Ah,
So there would be at least 12 things you've never done.
right.
So because as you and I know in our respective industries,
Yeah.
you know, we can't guarantee that I can have the 5th of the month. So I said, I have to do at least one thing I've never done in the month. If I could show you right now, my little day timer, every time I do something I've never done, like for example, in October, I have written that down. And what it does, Libby, is that you realize you can stretch. Look what I did. Oh my goodness. I taped this 45-minute keynote to Kenya. I've never done that before.
Wow.
Oh my goodness. I learned how to edit a movie.
Wow.
Not
Yeah.
before. And before COVID, I think one of the things was I found one of those Groupon coupons to take a series of Pilates classes.
Right.
I've
Okay.
never done that before.
So it doesn't have to be something earth shaking. It can be just something
No.
you add to what you're doing already in your life.
You do. And but it was so interesting as you realize there's so much more inside of you than you ever thought. And you break that pattern. When you break that pattern, you go, well, okay, I did that.
Yeah.
I can do something else.
Well, and I also think the continuity of it becomes a habit after that. It's like, oh, a risk, a challenge, a something. I'll do that. I'm good at this. I know how to take risks. I know how to do new things.
That's it.
So,
And you can also say, well, been there, done that, bought the t-shirt.
don't have to do it again.
Anymore.
Right. Right. Yeah. When I watched my son jump out of an airplane on his 18th birthday, I thought, please don't make this something you love. And he was like, this was so much fun. I thought, uh-oh. And he said, but now I've done it. I don't need to do it again. I was like,
actually, that's something I want to do, but I don't want to do it. I want to do it one of those things where somebody's hanging on to me, you know.
Oh no, you have to in your first time.
Okay.
So no way. I don't want to do it.
And I would be terrified.
Yeah.
That's probably I zip line. Zip line was a lot easier than I thought it would be. I could do that. I could do that.
That can be fun, but jumping out of something that's up there, no, that's not my thing. I'll find other ways. I'll learn the tango, but I won't jump out of an airplane.
Oh, that's got some attitude, baby.
Yeah.
Learn the tango.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I think those are great challenges right there to find that reframing of what resiliency is all about, that it's not that you got to fall flat and then you pull yourself up, but it's that, next, I can do this. And then one new thing a month. It's great if you can fit it in on your birthday, but I'm with you. One new thing a month is a great challenge for our listeners. So Eileen, where do we learn more about you and all the awesome stuff you are doing? It sounds like not on a monthly, but a daily, if not hourly basis. So,
okay. Well, first off, obviously I have a website, and if they can spell my name, they can find me. There is only one Eileen McDargh in the universe.
Okay. Oh, how nice is that? I feel sorry for
those
people.
Because my grandmother died, so it's just me. As far as I know, we have never found another Eileen McDargh.
Wow. I know about 3 other Libby Gills.
Really?
Yeah, but it's,
I should actually Google them. There will be other McDarghs, but there will only be one Eileen, the Irish spelling of Eileen. So you can go to my website. Our books are up there. They can sign up for my e-sign. I do a weekly blog. I don't think people need a daily blog. That's way too much.
I agree.
And my e-sign is published when the mood strikes, which is not all that often because people are just inundated with this stuff.
Yeah, they are.
And they can also find my books on Amazon. Again, and the new book is Burnout to Breakthrough, Building Resilience to Refuel, Recharge, and Reclaim What Matters. It's also available in audio form. And then let's see what else. And I'm on LinkedIn obviously on Facebook. Again, it's just my name, simple.
You're out there. Yeah.
I'm there.
But I think your burnout book is something everybody needs right now. So I would encourage all of you to get a breath of energy and fresh air from Eileen by reading about Burnout to Breakthrough, because that is something that's so important right now, and not just now, but for the long haul.
For the long haul. Thanks, Libby. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for being here today. I really enjoyed it.
My joy.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody, and we'll see you next week.